Everyone. Thank you for the introduction and thank you to the Framadagar team for putting this together. My name is Renata. I am the CEO and one of the co-founders of Green Bytes. Green Bytes is a green tech startup that helps restaurants reduce food waste and increase profits by using artificial intelligence. I'm actually very excited to talk to you today because myself and my co-founder were students at this university at Háskóli Reykjavik. We were master's students for sustainable energy at the Iceland School of Energy. And our studies here gave us a really good insight into different solutions that are being applied to help reduce climate change. But at the same time, it also gave us a big insight into the wide breadth of problems facing our planet. So, what exactly is the problem that's facing our planet? We all know about climate change. We all know the temperatures are getting higher and that our glaciers are melting, that there are bushfires abroad. But when you think about climate change, you kind of see this big, abstract, overwhelming problem. And when you have something that's so abstract and untangible, it's hard to tackle. So I want to break it down. Um, Scientists have attributed climate change to human activity in the recent years and the unprecedented amount of greenhouse gas emissions, be it nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide emissions, or methane, to our planet. And I want to break down further some of the industries that are attributed to doing a lot of this. So we have transportation in all forms, be it planes, boats, trucks, or anything. We have agriculture and electricity. And these are all things that are very important to our modern lives every day. We all need to move around and have mobility. We all need to eat, and electricity has also become an integral part of our lives. So I want to highlight further a sub-problem of the big looming climate change problem that contributes to all of these things: transportation, agriculture, and electricity, and that's food waste. So food waste is actually a huge contributor to climate change. It is one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions uh, in the world. If it were a country, it would contribute more emissions than any other country other than China and the US. And when you look at it, food waste itself is still kind of this big abstract problem. And because we will be talking about innovation and how to tackle entrepreneurship today, I want to break down how you can take a big problem like climate change or food waste and chop it up into a small problem that becomes tangible and feels solvable. So I suggest, if you're interested in innovation and you have a problem that you see out there, that you take it and you chop it up and you look at it from the perspective that makes sense to you, something that is relatable to you. So at Green Bytes, we help reduce food waste in restaurants specifically. And we decided to tackle this market because we had experience in the restaurant industry. We worked in the food service industry for years and years, and we realized that we were throwing food away after every shift, that there was just buckets and buckets of food waste that ended up in the garbage. So we thought back to our experiences, we contacted other people, and we did some research, and we're like, why is all of this food going to waste? And we realized it's because placing orders for food is confusing and time consuming. And that led us to the conclusion that restaurant food waste comes from over ordering food and over serving food. And from there, I think it's really important to like really define these problems and come to this conclusion because it comes to this fundamental question of innovation, which is what problem are you solving? And in our case, we're trying to solve restaurant food waste. So I want to delve in further into innovation. So what do you need if you want to go out and venture and start your own company or be successful in any company? One, there has to be demand for what you are proposing. There needs to be money for what you want to develop. And you need to have a fantastic team to put into motion the solution that you're proposing. And I want to start off with product, the demand, because arguably, product market fit is the most important part of innovation and entrepreneurship. Product market fit basically means, at its crux, that you have a tangible problem that real people have, and that these real people with this real problem are willing to pay you for your solution. And this may seem obvious, but it is something that entrepreneurs often get wrong. And this is backed up by the statistics because more than 40% of startups fail because they do not have good product market fit. So more almost half of startups are not doing well because they don't take into account what their users actually want. And there is this tendency to romanticize solutions and be like, yes, someone will want our solutions once it's ready, but there are different ways that you can approach finding product market fit. And one way that you can do that is by actually asking your users, finding who your stakeholders are, who are the people that are going to interact with your solutions. So when it comes to Green Bytes, we're like, okay, we're tackling food waste in restaurants. So we thought about our experiences, but we also went out and asked other people about their own experiences, other restaurant managers and other restaurant owners. Like, we wanted to make sure that we weren't alone in having this problem. And while going out and making these interviews, we got a better insight into the ordering process at different restaurants, and we came to understand what were the struggles of different restaurant owners and how people adapted to these things and how they were hoping to improve. And this brings me to design thinking, which I would argue is one of the best ways to address and find product market fit. I encourage you to do some research on design thinking, but basically, design thinking is about created user centered solutions, solutions that are designed for a specific market. And what I was just describing about going out and talking to restaurant owners and talking to restaurant managers is the first step of design thinking. Empathizing with your user, understanding your user, understanding what are their pain points. And from there, once you understand their problems, you can define the problem and be like, okay, so there is food waste in restaurants due to overordering. How can we solve this? So you can take this problem that you have defined and go further and propose solutions. And once you propose the solutions, there's the prototyping phase. And when you prototype, that can be a sketch, it can be a video, it can be a wireframe, it could be an application, it can be whatever you want, it's as long as it's tangible. And you take that prototype and you bring it to your users. And from your users, you listen to what they have to say, they listen to their feedback, you see how they interact with the prototype that you have put together. And from there, you gather all this information and you kind of take this iterative process. Maybe you have to redefine your problem, or maybe you get some feedback about your solution, you have new ideas and you create a new solution or an addition to your solution. And if you, once you get to the point where you're adding to the solution or changing the solution, you prototype again. And after you prototype, you test again. And this process continues cyclically and continuously. And it's something that will continue to go on, and is why your Facebook is always updating and why your Instagram changes format. There is continuous feedback from the users, and we are always learning as both users and developers. And I want to give some idea of what this process might look like through the realm of Green Bytes and give a little bit of insight into what this process looked like for us. So at the very beginning, we had something like this. Here, we were showing our users like, yes, you can log in, you can break down your menu, and you can send out orders. And we got good feedback, but we heard that our users wanted something a little more simpler, something that didn't look so intimidating, because like in restaurants, people are busy, they're working, they need to be able to do things quickly. So we're like, okay. We took that into account, back to the drawing board, put together some new solutions, and came back with something super simplified. So we went back to the prototyping, went back to the testing, talking to the users over and over again. And we're like, okay. Now they're like, okay, so it seems like now you are breaking down our menus and you're predicting future sales. Very good. But what if I already have what you're telling that I should order? And we're like, okay. So to reduce food waste, not only do we have to predict future sales, we have to also take into account what is already in stock. So we come to something that after lots of this process of going back and forth between users and testing and back to the drawing board and adding features and prototyping and testing, we put together to where we are today. And basically, right now, today, Green Bytes is a web application that breaks down menus, tracks inventory, and predicts future sales. We predict future sales by using artificial intelligence that takes into account past sales, COVID-19 statistics, and weather data. And once we predict future sales, we tell restaurants how much food to order. And basically, our aim is to provide value at every stage of the way. When you're breaking down menus, you can use this to expand location to other locations or to bring on new chefs in a way that's a little bit easier. When we're breaking down the inventory, it's very important to know what is in your stock. And that can also help reduce food waste. And of course, the core of what we do, using artificial intelligence to predict future sales and make suggestions about what should be ordered. We'll make suggestions about maybe in the next couple of days, our restaurants will need 20 kilos of tomatoes and 10 kilos of chicken and so forth, and actually placing all those orders for our clients. So that all encompasses the market. And yes, getting this product market fit and making sure that there is a good fit between what you're producing and what people want is absolutely key for a company's success. But there are other factors that are very important, such as funds. Before you get to the point where you have a sellable product, you need to get enough money to get to the point where you can sell to your clients. And there are many ways that you can do that. In Iceland, there are many opportunities for grants that move forward innovation and sustainability and many other fields. There's also the route of investment, and this can be done through angel investors or venture capitalists. And we also have access to accelerators, and this can be a very valuable tool because it offers mentorship and networking opportunities as well. And there's also competition and bootstrapping. Bootstrapping basically means that you use as little money as you can and survive as long as you can. So besides product market fit and funding, we also have putting together a good team. So I am super fortunate to have an amazing team of four wonderful women that have backgrounds in science, engineering, computer science, front-end development, back-end development, and more. And apart from just having a really strong technical background, we also have years of experience in the food service industry, and we have tangibly felt this problem. So we have the technical know-how to implement the solution, and we have the empathetic background to understand the problem that we're trying to solve. So yeah, that basically wraps it up to the bare minimum of what you would need to go forth in innovation are making sure you have a product that people want, that you have enough funds to bring it to the public, and that you have the right team to execute what you are trying to accomplish. So currently at Green Bytes, we are very proud to say that we have brought on our first customers, that we've developed this web application, and we have this awesome artificial intelligence-based suggestion automated in such a way that it collects and produces data. And our next couple of steps will be to fortify our tech infrastructure, because as you saw in the rapid prototyping methodology, we're always getting feedback, and we're using that feedback to strengthen our technical infrastructure and make our service better and better with each iteration. And from there, we want to go beyond Iceland and help have a positive impact in reducing food waste here in Iceland and abroad. So thank you very much for having me on today. And I will be on one of the consulting sessions if anyone has any questions. But if you're not available today, also feel free to send us an email at greenbytes@greenbytes.is or check out our Instagram, RVK_greenbytes. Thank you. Tack för det, Meg.